A while ago. I've heard their story now probably 5 or 6 times because we do a lot of events together, and every time I hear the story I'm absolutely amazed at not only what great parents they are and what a great child they have and what they have to go through, and I think you'll feel that as well. Now it's funny because they both have names, but they're just known as Grayson's dads. That's how they are. So let's bring Chad up, Grayson's dad, to tell their story, and it really is truly incredible. Chad?
Hey everybody, so I am the infamous Grayson's dad number 1, and dad number 2 is over there. So I'm really excited to be here today and share what is, I guess, Grayson's story with you. And there'll be over 81,000 children that were treated by BC Children's in 2011, and 8,579 surgeries they performed that year. I'm going to introduce you to one of those kids. And that is the outstandingly awesome Grayson, who, as you can tell, is pretty animated. He also happened to be the cover story last summer for BC Children's Hospital magazine. And to see our family, though, there's no obvious medical need. You can't look here and see the journey that we've been through. But if you scratch the surface just a little bit, you'll see that we've certainly been through the most difficult time of our entire lives. It didn't start off that way. We had a really great day 1. But by day 2, he was being medevaced out of Dawson Creek, where we were adopting him from. And by day 4, he was having open heart surgery to repair a heartbeat. Now, unfortunately for us, our day 4 did not end there. And there's probably a lot of parents in the room, and I just want you for a moment to imagine that you were being told that your child on day 4 has Maple Syrup Urine Disease. Now, of course, we were devastated. We didn't even know why we were devastated, because what the hell is Maple Syrup Urine Disease? But you're devastated because you're reading the faces of the doctors telling you this, and you know you wouldn't have been pulled into a boardroom on the heels of open heart surgery if it was minor. And this is the food industry in this room, and ironically, MSUD has everything to do with protein. So we've just spent the last half an hour and the whole day consuming protein. And for Grayson, if he ate like how the rest of us eat, by day 4, he would have brain swelling, possible brain damage. By day 10, he would be in a coma. And at some point after that, he went sick. Because Grayson can't deal with overage of protein floating through the body. So for us, when we eat protein, our body uses it to build muscle, to repair bone, to do about 10,000 things. And then we have extra. And that extra is fatal to everybody in this room. So we have enzymes that notice the extra, and like Pac-Man, they turn on and they go destroy all that extra. When you have MSUD, you're missing some of the enzymes that deal with the extra, and so for him, they just build up instantly. And so every child in BC, including your child, would have been tested for MSUD along with 21 other metabolic and conditions and diseases. You may remember the heel poke that they take on your child after they're a day old. That gets sent somewhere. Just kind of sit in the hospital, and then you go on and lead your life, and somebody does something with that piece of paper. It's BC Children's, and they process 300 to 400 blood samples every day, and there hadn't been a case of MSUD in over 10 years. There's only 6 kids in BC with it, 2 of which were born in the last 6 months. So, this might be news to you, but as the food industry, I find that there's an assumption around what is in protein, what has protein. Water does not, pure fat, lard, does not, sugar and pure sugar things does not have protein. What does? Everything else, including mustard, watermelon, lettuce, pickles, everything that is not lard, water, sugar, or Slurpee. So, what does our life look like? Well, to give context, steak has 61 grams of protein and egg has 8. Today, Grayson will have 6.43 grams spread evenly over 24 hours. If you didn't know that protein had a decimal place, well, now you do, and I would just like to thank Western Family, because a lot of suppliers, they will round down or round up the protein intake. For example, these fruit-flavored animal snacks say per package there is 0.1 grams of protein. Grayson can eat these. They did not round down to 0, because there's no such thing as 0, there's no such thing as 1. It's point something. In our life, we need to know what that decimal place is so you can eat it. If you rounded, you can't have it, because we don't know. So how do we know it's 6.43? Well, it's because of BC Children. Every week, sometimes twice a week. Last year, 62 times, he had his blood analyzed by the lab. The fast way is they take a vial of blood from his arm, and a team of lab technicians on a $250,000 machine spend 7 hours figuring out what his levels are. The slow but less intrusive way is they take a drop of blood from his finger, and a different team of lab technicians on a different $250,000 machine spend 36 hours figuring it out, and that happens 1 to 2 times a week. That information is then rolled up to his dietitian and his metabolics doctor, who is available 24 hours on call to us. And they come up with a recipe plan, along with $10,000 worth of free medical food that we get from BC Children's, and we concoct a formula that is safe for him, representing 50% of his protein exposure. The other 50% looks pretty normal. Looks like an apple, looks like a yam. But I have to run it through databases and spreadsheets, figure out how much apple, yam, banana, raspberry to put on a scale, because we have to weigh it out. You cannot have a bite more or a bite less of the exact amount that was put on the scale and weighed out and calculated for it. And then, of course, it's Groundhog Week, and we go back and do it all over again. So the more I talk about MSUD, I think the more unrelatable my journey is to you. It's probably not even close to what you're familiar with. So I'm going to share 2 big picture takeaways that I think you can relate to, things I learned on our journey. And the first has to do with how many children have a medical need. I assumed there weren't that many. I thought the community of need was this small because when I went to school, I'm turning 38, I don't remember many kids having medical conditions. My grad class was 1,000 and I can think of maybe 15 kids. So my assumptions were based on my life experience. The crazy thing is that by the time Grayson goes to kindergarten, he has a 1 in 13 chance of going to a school where there's a child who's also had open heart surgery in the kindergarten program with him, who had the surgery the same year he had his. And if that blows your mind, it's because, like me, you forgot to account for advances in medicine. It's not like it was in our day. In fact, Grayson's heart condition is so common, 1 in 2,000 children are born with it. You know how many children you didn't go to school with that today will go to school? And that's just one medical condition of one type of heart defect. In my day, 0% survival rate. Today, 90% survival rate. How do we get there? Well, it's through the support, the financial support, that goes towards BC Children's, towards the treatment and the research of improving the outcome of kids. So hopefully I've convinced you there are more kids than maybe what you thought there were. And I asked myself the question, so where are these kids? And I realized I had a preconceived idea of what a child with a medical need looked like. Because the media, of course, shows you the bald child in the wheelchair with the IV drip. And we don't see those kind of kids out and about in the real world. And unless you can visually tell, like, I can see something is different about you, you afford children perfect health. I've stopped that. I assume no child is healthy now, and I just have to show you more awesome pictures of Grayson being awesome. To remind you that children with medical needs can look amazing. In fact, like I said, we're at the hospital 1 to 2 times a week, and we see all the other appointment kids. And those appointment kids, 80 to 90% of them look perfect. And it's because of the support and services of BC Children's that makes them look so good. So I just wanted to say thank you for your support at BC Children's. You're helping one amazing kid and tens of thousands of amazing children that maybe you didn't know you were even helping. You see these kids all the time. You don't have to look like the kids that you think you're helping. They can look like my kid. Thanks.